Hello everybody and welcome to my craft room decor video. So I had wanted to post this a couple weeks ago right after my the grand tour of the craft room, but I had a couple things left I wanted to make and unfortunately I still have never made them, but I'm going to walk you through what they are and then maybe I'll do those in a future video. And then also there's going to be some footage in between like this tour of me talking, of me actually making some things and updating some things. I'm going to do my best to give you some tips, some tricks that I've done to creating some decor for your crafty spaces. You can do this no matter how big or small your spaces are. And also there's some inexpensive things that I have done to some more expensive things. So I'm going to talk you through all of that. So if you did not catch the grand tour of the room or my crafty clean out this year, you can go ahead and check those out and that might give you a better sense of the room. If you are brand new to my videos and this is the first video you're clicking on, this is it was our garage and we converted it into my space, my studio. I thought I would insert a couple photos here and throw it way back to when we first started. This was the garage when we first started. So it was very much just a garage and just a space. You can see the garage was added on to the house after the house was built. So where my Bermuda Bay wall is, that is actually the outside of the house. So there is texture and that is the green wall that you're looking at there. And then there was a garage door that we took out and then added the window and the door and then also the wall. And this was at the very beginning when we were just first starting. And I cannot believe how little the kids are. That photo of Andrew just, oh my word, it just makes me smile so much. He was so little. And the kids were very much involved in what we were doing. And we did it all ourselves. So this was a room that it took a lot of time to get to where it is at. And I want to always make sure to remind you of that it is not something that happened overnight. This has been a 8-year project really to this space. This was after I moved in, and for a long time the walls were just the plywood that went up. We did not do drywall. My husband refused to do drywall, even though I begged him to do drywall. He did not want to deal with it. And the cost of it was just it wasn't cost effective for us. And because we were doing it ourselves, I really had to just compromise and be happy that I was getting a room and not be upset that it wasn't drywall. So for many years, I actually lived in this room and in this space with the plywood just like that. The hard thing for me was that it cast a very yellow tint to all of my photos and to my filming. And that is when we came up with the solution, when we reorganized the room. Actually, it was right at the start of COVID when we were reorganizing it. We had started the project when COVID had hit, and we found the solution for the walls that I have now. So that is why the seams do not bother me, because I would much rather have the seams to deal with than the plywood yellow orange tint to deal with. So those are a few photos of when I first got started in this room. Studio. There are definitely things that are not perfect. We still have trim to get around the doors. When we put the walls up, there needed to be these spaces here needed to be filled, and then they wouldn't be so noticeable, but that was a really big project. My husband needed to do it, and I ended up just not wanting to wait. And so now there's some seams in my walls. Things are certainly not perfect in this space, but it really, really works for me. And I love organizing. I love doing different decor pieces. And so for me, organizing and decorating my space has been as much of a hobby and as much as my crafting love as actual crafting. So in all of the previous videos, I've talked about all of my furniture choices and the different things that I have purchased and done. So you can check that out. My room is a mix of black and white furniture. And the only thing that I would change about that, if I could, is I would have all black furniture just because that's what I like. I don't mind having a mix. You can see I have some pieces that are black and then I have some pieces that are white. My tabletops are black. As places started coming out with more black furniture, I started getting those pieces and mixing them in. So that's kind of the overview of the room. There's some custom pieces that I have done, pieces I've gotten from the dollar store, and then pieces that I've spent a little bit more money on. So I'm going to start at this corner here, and we're going to work our way around the room just like we did in my previous videos. And so you'll be familiar with that way that I go through the videos. In fact, let's just start over here. So my first tip for you is to pick a color theme. So I did Bermuda Bay was my main color, which is what color this wall is. And that is where I started. So when we converted the garage and we painted, this is the color that I started with. Now it was like a Bermuda Bay and like a pear pizzazz, like a green color, like a pale type green and then brown. So that was the original color scheme in this room with that color. And then when I did the big, I thought I would pop a couple photos in here and insert a couple thoughts. This was my room after I had been moved in a little bit. You can see there's not as many things in here, but really I was trying to find some photos of the decor that I had. And you can go to my website, and if you just go to my blog posts and you type in craft room, you will see all of these. I have videos, I have photos of my craft room when it was in my son's room when we first moved into this house, pictures of when we were in our old house and my room was purple. What I did with this space when we moved into this house is I actually picked a designer paper from Stampin' Up! That I really loved. It actually to this day is still my all-time favorite pattern paper Stampin' Up! Ever did. And I took that pattern paper and I based all of my colors around that piece of paper. And that piece of paper is right here. This is one of the sheets. You can see it was a paisley piece. The paper was called Spice Cake, and it was a fall type paper, came out in the fall mini catalog. And this was one of my favorite sheets. And so it had this pool party Bermuda Bay-ish color, so that teal blue color, and then it had brown. And then back when I used this paper, Stampin' Up! Also had fabric in the catalog, and so the fabric that's on top of the cubes is also that same line. So I had paper and I had fabric that matched, and that is how I picked the design of my room, the colors of my room. When I rearranged my room, I actually had no intentions of changing the colors until a friend said, "Are you going to update the colors?" And I was like, "Oh, I never thought about it." So that is when I changed to the black and white theme with the Bermuda Bay as a pop of color. So that is my suggestion to you, is to pick something that you can base your design off of. I did the big rearrange and I added the island. I updated my colors to be black and white, and then with the pop of blue. With my clean out this spring, I added this darker teal color, this pretty peacock type color. And if you're not familiar, those are Stampin' Up! Colors. So that's kind of how I talk, in Stampin' Up! Colors. So I added the pop of that darker blue, and that was actually purely a coincidence that we came back with Pretty Peacock in the Stampin' Up! Color lineup. This color is actually in my kitchen, and we were doing that in January. I picked that color out to do some renovations in our kitchen, and then I carried it over into my craft room. So that is the start. That's where I started, was with one main color that I really loved, and then doing the black and white. When I updated everything, it was really nice to be able to update into the black and white, and you see a lot of different black and white patterns. Here's a checkered pattern. This fabric is the other pattern that you will see. I have polka dots, I have triangles, I have different patterns here. I knew I wanted it to be a real mix of different black and white patterns. I didn't want to just go with, say, diagonal or polka dots. I really wanted to have it open because that just opens up what I'm able to purchase a lot easier. So back here in this corner, there's a few decor pieces. So this piece right here was meant to be a stand, and it folded like in like half, and then it would sit on your tabletop. And it was a piece that Stampin' Up! Offered. When I got it, I knew I wanted to hang it on the wall. I don't put a lot of cards up there because I really like my room to be very like matchy, and I don't like a lot of different like cards on display. Those are some of my favorites. The one that Christina Warner did for Andrew is up there, and then a couple that I made and a couple that a couple friends made. And then right up top are my vision boards, and those are just from a couple past projects. Now on this shelf right here, I'm gonna take you in closer. I'm gonna give you a view of this. I actually made this. So one of the tips that I have for you is to pick up these decor pieces. This was like it's a display item, but underneath it, it said, I think it was one that said, "You're crazy is showing, tuck it in or tuck it back in." It was something actually a friend gave me, but it was red. It had some red in it. I didn't necessarily, like I outgrew it. And so all I did is I added that I created over the top of it. And you're going to see that I do that in several spots in this room. I take something and I repurpose it. So I'll give you a closer look of that in just a second. And then you see that's a wooden stamp that is a film strip. So one of my other things in this room that I display are cameras. I love cameras. I would love to have a couple vintage cameras to be in here, but that is one of the focuses that I have. So having that film strip fits in to my decor. And then you see here, I use all of the items in this room. Some of them will hold, like they will work as a decor item. So this is all of my not snapware, my stone, like my stoneware paper. That is what is left that I have. And then there's some Hallmark wrapping paper there. It's all black and white, and I have it there because it fits the decor of the room. Here's an up close look at that piece. You can see it is just a wooden, it's not a box really, but and then it had the image on the front, and the piece itself was all white, and then the picture was on the front. I painted the front black, so you can see the edge there. I just took acrylic paint and I painted it black, and then this piece, the flowers and the saying on there I did. So those are just watercolor flowers, and in my word program, I layered those, and then I added this saying. It is actually song lyrics to one of my favorite songs. And so all I did was just make that in that word program, and then I printed it out on photo paper and then trimmed it down and added it to the front of this piece. So I also could put Mod Podge over the front of it if I really wanted it to be, I guess, maybe more permanent. The way it is now, I could take off the saying and the paper, and I could repurpose that piece again if I wanted to. But I just thought I would give you an up close look at this. I often take quotes or song lyrics and use them to create pieces like this in my space. So there is a couple pieces on that shelf that work as decor. If we turn right over here, I have these two pieces here. They say Simply Blessed, And I actually picked those up from the Dollar Tree. So they were just black and white. They fit my decor, and I knew that they would work. I have my aprons hanging on there, and those were gifts from that I've gotten over the years from Stampin' Up. Up here is a frame, and I actually repurposed that frame. It had some family photos in it that I didn't need anymore. And when I took that frame apart, I stuck it up there because I was going to do like a project. I was going to do some stamping or something. And then I decided I didn't want to do that. I actually had wanted to put that saying, if you have a dream, chase it, because a dream won't chase you back. That frame up here is originally where that was going to go. Instead, I just added some paper, some wrapping paper to that frame, and I put it up there. It also has the Stampin' Up, that wooden stamp up there is the Stampin' Up statement of the heart. And then I have the ampersand, which I got at Hobby Lobby. And then the hashtag was white, and I got that at the dollar store, and I spray painted it. So a good portion of that was repurposed. The frame with the wrapping paper, and then the hashtag, like I just repurposed that and added to it. And then the ampersand, the and sign, I got at Hobby Lobby. And that was probably a little bit more expensive. It was black originally. I got it for my living room. Didn't work in my living room, and so I added it to my craft room. Okay, so up high here, and I want to get one more of these vinyl flowers to go up here in this corner. I have a couple vinyl flowers in this room. There's these two over this door. And this is where we got to the point where I was like, I'm done waiting for him to finish out these seams. I'm just gonna do what I want in my room. And I put these up. I will link the Etsy store that I got them from, but if you go on Etsy and you search vinyl floral wall decals, you will find them. If they are shown in gold or a different color, a lot of times you can go into the shop and select the size and the color, and they will go on drywall. They will go on any kind of surface. They're so easy to put up. And like I said, I want to get one more for this corner. So that is an element of decor in this room. Over here on this shelf, there's a few things I'm going to talk about. There's some elements like this. This was a tin that I got in the Target dollar spot, and I spray painted it. Actually spray painted it a couple times, so it's been a couple different colors. And then there's this, which I found at TJ Maxx, and it was a candle. So I bought it. I have a couple of these. I bought it, and then I just burned the candle, and when it was all done, I use it as an element. So you can do that with candles. If you see something that is a candle and you really like the container, buy it, burn the candle, and then clean it out and keep using it. I did this because blessed, the word blessed, just holds a really special meaning to me. I have like my blessed to craft, my blessed to scrap. I use that word in a lot of my business things. And so anytime I find something with the word blessed on it, I pick it up. The next thing you'll see on this shelf are some of these containers here, and I've just added paper to them. So this is an alpha set. These both are alpha sets that I had bought that didn't have a like case. Let's try to get that to focus. And so I just added the pattern paper, and it works great as a element in here. Same with down here. You will see that I have several of them. There's actually a die set in this one that is an A4 square die set. And I've just added all kinds of different black and white paper. So as I realized that I was going to go with a black and white theme, I just started collecting black and white pattern paper. Pattern paper is your best friend and can be used for so many different things in your space. Up here, I have this. Was a gift from Stampin' Up for something that I had earned several years ago, and it's a speaker, and so I have that there, but then I just added pattern paper to this box, and in this box has some felt type letters. I will show you those letters in another part of this video, but I have those letter decals in here, and then I just covered the box. This, I think, is for makeup brushes, but I picked it up again at TJ Maxx, and I have my paint brushes in that. And then this was sent to me by a friend because it has a camera on it, and I love cameras, and she sent it to me, and I use it for embellishments. You probably saw that in my organizational videos, and it fits perfect right on that shelf. So then this whole display here is part of my decor, and so I store all of my ink pads from Stampin' Up! And Color Family. So the color families, those are retired. I know it's a little bright because of the window. I'll get a different angle and you'll see the colors a little bit better. And then these are close to my heart ink pads, and they will be stored in rainbow order. I just have to reorganize those. And then these are my new Concord and Ninth ink pads, and they will be in rainbow order too as soon as I get the labels for them. And then my blends and my Copics and Sharpies are all in rainbow order. Again, I've picked up a couple things. This, I think, was a candle as well. It has my buttons in it. It has that Rae Dunn. It's that Rae Dunn brand. And so I picked that up because I had the Rae Dunn brush item and then the Rae Dunn blessed items. And so, again, it coordinated. Right here, I got these at the dollar store. So I was there. I actually used to have three in three different patterns, and I broke one of them. And I picked up all three knowing I was redoing my room, and I just used them in here. So they're coffee cups. They have my Erin Condren pens, and then some spritzers. Now this right here was actually a business card. So on the back, I think it was in a swap actually, and I loved it so much I bought a mini canvas holder, and then I just display it in my room here. And then again, right here is another way that I have brought those colors into my room, and I use it as a display, even though it is also organization. Up here, I have this Believe in Yourself. This is a perfect example of something that you could totally repurpose. If you didn't like the saying, if it said something you didn't like on it, cover it with paper and make it something that you love. I have this mini display. This was, I think, $14.99 on Amazon, so something that cost a little bit of money, but I loved it, and it fit well in my space. Now I'm going to back up, and I'm going to show you this right here, and this area took me a really long time to figure out what to do with. That is a poster, and what I did is I purchased the poster on Amazon. It was really inexpensive. I think it was less than $15, and then I actually glued it to a foam board. So the same foam boards that I use for my taking pictures. If I were to get this in foam board, it would have been really, really expensive. Or if I would have got it framed, or if I would have wanted to frame it, it would have been really expensive. But to just get the poster and then go to Walmart and get, spend $2 on a piece of foam board, it was much more doable for me to add that. And then I just hung it on my wall. So then I have some of these pieces that are around it, and I made those with paper. And then I have the K's, which are I've just found in different places. I don't think I've ever paid very much for those. You can find the letters all over the place. I have a wood stamp, which make your crafty items decor pieces. So I have that camera there. This Spread Love was actually an Erin Condren postcard, and I just punched that out with a circle punch and I added it to the K. I have my very first camera. It's a Kodak camera. It was my very first larger camera. And then I have a floral arrangement that is solo wood flowers that a friend made me, and I have that up there. So I really love the way this has eventually come out, but it was a bit difficult to figure out how to create that space. It took a little bit of time. It took me a few minutes into the video to realize my camera wasn't really focusing well. So I got a close-up little clip here that is a little bit better in focus. I wanted to also mention that I had made these rosettes. These are really easy to make. If you look up on YouTube just a rosette tutorial, you'll see how to make those. Again, I just used pattern paper that I had on hand in black and white. to add to that wall. And then I spray painted one of the Ks. I think it's been a couple different colors as well. And then I just added all of these different pieces here. That little mini vase I got at the Target dollar spot, and again I spray painted it. That where the flowers are was actually a different color. I wrapped paper around it and then wrapped a ribbon around it to make it match my space. These are the solo wood flowers, which are wood flowers that my friend had made me this arrangement. She dyed them and then made them, and then I took a couple out of the original arrangement to put into the smaller vase, and you can see the close-up of a spider web that I did not even realize was there until just now. So I need to fix that today. And then my camera is right there. And then I just wanted to show you also on the other side, there is a lens that is a container, like a photo lens that a family member sent me. They thought when they ordered it, it was a cup. I'm trying to zoom in here for you. They thought it was a cup, and when it came, it was really small, and they still sent it to me, and I love it, but I just added it as decor to my space. And so I really love the way that space came out eventually. So don't be worried about it being perfect right away. This spot right here, probably for 4 years, I hated the way it looked. I hated the decor that was up there. But I finally found, by rearranging and repurposing things, I was finally able to find a arrangement that I liked. I have several of these. This is a 10. There's actually nothing in there. Probably if I stop pointing, my camera will stay focused. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so, and I'm also sorry if it's shaky. I'm just holding this and walking around, and so it might be a little bit shaky. So this is just something that I made. You can see a button has fallen off, which is funny. I was wondering where that button had come from. I know exactly where I stuck that other button, so I'll put that back. But I just took paper and my stamps, and I created this, and I use it as a decor piece. Same with this. This is a pretty packaging from Stampin' Up that I can just use as decor. Down here, I did the same thing. I used my stamps. This has my paste in it. So all of my Stampin' Up, or not, it's not even just Stampin' Up, but anything that is like paste related is in there. And I decorated that tin. And then this is a measuring bowl, actually. You can't quite see, but it came in a set of 3, and my mom actually got it for me for Christmas one year with some kitchen stuff, and I loved the polka dot and the color, and so I moved that one into my craft room, and it holds letters. And then here's some more of those Dollar Tree items that I just picked up. I spray painted and added paper to, and that works out great as a way to not only store things, but then be really pretty and on display. I have my really huge Central Perk cup. It has some items in it. This came from a friend who went to the Friends experience. If you are a Friends fan like I am, you can look that up on Instagram. It is so cool. And she got that cup, and she has the same one in her space. So we have some matching friend things. Okay, over here is where I have a lot to show you and some footage of making some things. So the first thing I have here is my Cricut, and on top I have these letters, which is in that box that has the Stampin' Up speaker on it. And I got these on Amazon. I think they were around 20 bucks. I don't love the orange and the pink, but it was light. There's not a lot of real colors to choose from, and I wanted something that was a little bit bright. This says create, and I really like that. Over here, I have another K, and I've just taken solo wood flowers, and I've added the solo wood flowers to the edge of that, and then some ribbon and a little camera. This is an item I got at IKEA, a little vase. And then this, Andrew actually made me for Mother's Day. So I just stuck it in there. That probably won't always stay there. But it just, this year he gave that to me for Mother's Day. And so I put it there. This is another one of those items. I stamped this. This is my happy place. And I repurposed that frame. It had something else on it. I spray painted the frame and added that by just stamping and adding the paper on top of it. Here's my mini albums, and again displayed in one of those Dollar Tree tins. And then this is something that I created. I took a canvas, and I think I have some footage of this, so if I do, I'll insert it here. This is something that I created because I actually saw a Good Vibes sign that, I'm just putting something on my TV here. I saw a sign that I had wanted, but it was really expensive. It was like $40. And I was looking for pieces to go behind me on that wall because that is my backsplash. It's what you see when I'm on a Zoom call or I'm doing a front-facing video, and I wanted something to go there. I didn't want to spend that much money, and I thought, what could I make? So I painted one of these canvases black, and then I cut the letters out on my Cricut. And originally, I was just going to do this with the ink, and I wasn't going to do the final product. There is glitter on these, and I just used stickles, but that was not my original idea. I was just going to leave it like this. So I was going to add some flowers to it. I ended up not adding flowers, and instead I added glitter to it. But one of the tips I have for you is to search different items. I never would have thought to make this on my own. It wasn't some idea that came to me that I was like, oh, I should totally do this. I literally had been looking at a long, I needed something long to go in the space where this is at because it is between a shelf and my mini albums. So I knew the piece that I needed to go there to fill that spot needed to be long. And so I was looking for long decor signs. I saw one that said Good Vibes, and I was like, oh, I really like that. That would be cool to have. And I started looking at ones that I really liked. And of course, the ones I really liked were really expensive, and I didn't want to spend any money. So I thought, well, what could I just make? I had already cut out all of these flowers for another piece that you're going to see in just a moment. And I had them on my desk. And so I thought, well, what could I make? I cut out the Good Vibes letters. They match the letters or the font that I use in this room for some other things. And so I cut those out on my Cricut. I just inked them instead of cutting them out in individual cardstock colors to make it easy on myself. I cut them all out in white, and then I just inked over the white cardstock to color it. And then at the very last moment, I had attached it, and I thought it looked a little plain. So I thought, well, what could I do to add to this? Because none of the floral pieces were working out. Like, then I was trying these solo wood flowers. I was just trying to figure out, like, what could I add? I thought about adding buttons to this, but I already have a piece that has buttons on the wall. So I end up at the last minute realizing, why don't I just use the glitter that I have on hand? And I used stickles to add all of the glitter. I just did blue over blue, yellow over yellow, pink over pink, and it turned out perfect and fit in the spot perfectly. Up top, I have a frame that I spray painted. I added a postcard that I got from Allie Edwards, and then I added a flower, a couple leftover flowers I had. I display my large lens up there as well, and then these two items right here, which I know are a little bit hard to see. That one says Maker of Pretty Things, which I stamped, and then I die cut all of those items and did that. And then Craft Room on that hexagon are all those buttons in those colors. And then I stamped Craft Room in white ink. Now, I definitely know I have some footage of updating this, so I will share that as well. This is actually the piece that kicked off wanting to do different decor in my room and share that. This is a piece that I made many years ago. It had stamped flowers on it. It was a kit from Stampin' Up, and I went to a class and we stamped the flowers and cut them out, and we did the letters and sewed it on here, and then did all the other pieces. And over time, the stamping had faded. And I was looking at it when I was doing my craft room cleanup, and I had thought, I really have always wanted to update this. And I thought, well, I'll just include it as one of the pieces in my craft room organizational videos. And then it turned into like finding some different decor pieces, making a couple of the other ones I've already shared in here. Like I just was like, well, let's just update all of this and like do this. So all I did was pick colors that actually, they more match my website. These aren't like black and white, so they don't necessarily like, they do match the craft room, but they are colors I picked because they match my website. And then there's some other floral pieces in this room you're going to see that's why I picked the colors, is because they somewhat go with the room, and then they're my website colors. And so all I did was take some dies that I have, some floral dies. They are the stitched floral dies that I have from Stampin' Up. They no longer like have those, but they're retired and I've kept them on hand. I cut out a bunch, and then you can see that I'm inking the edges, so I cut them out in Crushed Curry, Bermuda Bay, Pool Party, Calypso Coral. I think that is Mango Melody, if I'm not mistaken. And I just cut out a bunch of them in a bunch of different sizes. I tried to very carefully pull up all of the stamped flowers that were fading. You can see that the banner itself, like it's pretty like scratched up, and you can see where I pulled the flowers off. And then what I thought I would do is just add these other flowers on top of all the spaces that, like, there's a couple that look really bad that it tore. And I thought, well, I'll just cover those up with the flowers the best I can. And then I'm going to add black and white ribbon to this. And I also painted the frame that they go on. So I knew that because it's up so high, you can't really see up close. When you're in my space, it's a piece that is up high enough that all of the little imperfections are not going to really matter. And so I just wanted to use up these flowers that I had. And so before gluing anything down, and actually even before finishing inking all of the pieces, I laid everything out so that I could space out the larger flowers. And I didn't want, I was trying to make sure like different flowers were in different places. And I really just followed where the flowers had been before, because obviously it's, I'm going to cover up some of those imperfections. So it just took me a minute to get them all placed. I did use regular adhesive, and then I used dimensionals to pop a few of the pieces up to just give it a little bit of dimension. So super simple to do. You could cut out some banners. You could stamp whatever saying you want. This says love lives here. You could stamp out whatever sayings you want. You could die cut some letters as well. The banner pieces are not my favorite shape ever, but they totally work. It is in this craft colored cardstock with the border. I think it is totally fine, but you could recreate this very, very easily just by copying the design. So here is the frame. Now, when it is hanging up in my room, you cannot tell that I painted the frame. I could have totally skipped that step. It was a black frame, and I painted it the blue. It is that darker, pretty peacock blue. I think this was actually one of the first things that I did. I had the paint from the stuff we were doing up in the living room, or in the kitchen, in our kitchen. And I was like, maybe I could bring that color into my craft room. And so I think that's kick-started the whole thing. And my husband was like, why do you keep buying this paint? Because we hadn't started the kitchen yet. And I kept saying, I need to go get more of this paint. And he was like, why do you keep needing this paint? Like, he had no idea what was going on in my craft room, which is something I always try to, like, do the things. I always ask permission after. Like, I'm always like, okay, don't be mad. Like, I've done this. Like, I've updated this, which he doesn't care as long as he doesn't have to do it most of the time. He doesn't care. I mean, he is very good about helping me when I ask, but so all I did here was add the twine back, and then I added black and white ribbon to update it. So I really love the way it came out, and it was the perfect update. Okay, as I stand back from this wall, you're gonna see a couple decor pieces. I wanted to give you a really good overview. Here are some more of those vinyl flowers, and I have it in that corner, and then one in the middle, and then one over in that corner, and then right under that flower, I bought all three of those flowers, but right under that flower, I cut on my Cricut the words that say count and all joy. So I have those. Before we move to the next piece in my room, I wanted to show you my Cricut Joy and show you the vinyl sticker that is on that as well. I slowed this footage way down, so I'm sorry, it looks really weird. I love vinyl flowers. I get them on Etsy. They're really easy to get. These are colorful vinyl flowers, and I just added it to my Cricut Joy. It was one flower, and I cut it in half, and then I put half on the top and half on the bottom. And you can do this, I mean, if you have a Cricut and you know how to do vinyl stuff, you could do it yourself. It's one of those things that I don't want to spend the time trying to figure out and to do, so I just buy the vinyl pieces on Etsy. There's one other vinyl piece in the room that you will see in just a minute, but it does add a pop of color or a pop of like an accent to different pieces. So I just wanted to show you this as well before we jump into the next spot in my room. And then my next piece of decor in here is this piece. And this is my logo for my Life Simply Documented website and my membership, and what the real heart of what I want to do online is, and that is documenting and memory keeping. And so I just took that logo, I sent it to Staples, and I had them print that, and then I got one of those frames that just has a top and a bottom and it's magnetic, and then I hung it right there. I put one of these paper rosettes right over the nail, so it just added a little something, and then I have a couple hooks there. Now you can also see from this angle that I have these curtains, and what I did is I found curtains that I liked. I bought 2 sets. These were from Walmart. I actually can't find them at Walmart. I think the last time I looked, they were sold out, but I will attempt to find them again. So I bought 2 sets of the largest set that they had. So they were like 72 inches long and like 40 inches wide. You got 2 panels with each set, and I bought 2 of them. They were not that expensive. I think I paid less than $30 for each of them. I've chopped them up and I've used them all over the place. I used it here, which is really just a decor piece. I never close those. And then this I close it, I open and close it, but I cut this and then sewed the bottom of it and like used it. So I used it all over the place. There's some of it sitting on my desk there. I used some of it here. I used it as a runner there. It's over there. It's at my paper tower. It's at the back of my desk, and then it's over this large window as well. So I used it all over the place, and it was really, I did pillows in it. It was really, really inexpensive to do that. Instead of just buying fabric and then trying to make everything, I just used what I had. And then this flower pillow came from Amazon, and then I also redid my grandmother's chair. I've talked about that. That polka dot fabric I just got at Walmart. If you just go over to their fabric section, they have some that are just like in a package that is like hanging up. You don't have to ask them to cut it or anything. It's just like a little bit of fabric. And I got that polka dot fabric and did the same thing. I also did a runner with that fabric, and then I covered up. There was a sort of like this where there was a hole underneath here, and I just used the fabric. I actually just used thumb, push pens. In our house, we call them thumb taps because that's what Andrew used to call them when he was little. And I just pinned it to that to cover that up to make it a little prettier. Again, everything in this room is not perfectly, like, I haven't spent a ton of money doing all this. I've done little things here and there, and I've tried to make a lot of my stuff, cover a lot of my stuff, and really use what I have. So that is where that fabric came from. These blankets that you see in my room, I have 3 of them. I got them on Amazon. They were really inexpensive, less than $15, and I just got 3 of them for the 3 different spaces that I wanted blankets to be. And then again, when I've been picking out organizational pieces, I pick them out based on the colors that I want or the items that I want in here. I want to reflect the style. You saw that I covered the back of this bookshelf, and I did that with wrapping paper in black and white. These boxes right here were from Stampin' Up, and I've kept them. They're craft, and then also black, like the craft color, and then black. I wish they were like black and white or black and teal or something, but it's totally fine. It works. This is a tin I picked up at a little boutique, and it had a different design on it. It was a different color. I just spray painted it. So spray paint is my best friend. Next I have these. These are embroidery hoops, and I took that same fabric, the polka dot fabric, and then the fabric for the curtains that I use, and I covered it, and then that's how I display my pens, my enamel pens. I went through these and I got rid of a bunch that just didn't really mean anything to me anymore, a bunch of Stampin' Up ones. So I have some space now to grow, and I just got this one right here, this camera, and I love it. And then up here there is a sign that says work hard, be kind, stay humble. I got that at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. One thing right above my window, it says create, and those are just stickers. I took really large stickers that I had. They were gray. I colored them with a black marker, a black Sharpie. I colored them black, and I stuck them right to my wall, and it says create. This right here are actually, they're canvases. So like canvases that you would paint on. There are 4 of them. I'm not positive what size they are. I actually stole them from Kayla. I wanted to do this. And so she had some canvases, and then I wrapped chalkboard paper. So it is actually like chalkboard vinyl paper that you can get to put on your wall, to stick on your wall. And then you can write on it with a chalk, like pen marker, and then erase it. I covered it in the canvases. You can kind of see right here, that white, that's the canvas. So I covered it in that chalkboard paper. And then this is just some items that I have up here. There are photos. There is a time conversion table because I do a lot of work with Pip particularly. In fact, you'll see it says Pip's time. She's in the UK, and so I just have that because I reference it. And then these are all the other US time zones. And then there's photos. There's a couple inspirational items, this clarity, purpose and goals. There's the rock up there with a quote. I saw that online, that let your faith be bigger than fear. So there's just some things up there that are inspirational to me, some photos. I have my calendar, which I actually made so it would coordinate with my room. I couldn't find a black and white one that I liked. And then on my desk, which is a bit of a mess, you can see some, I would call them decor items, but really they're kind of trinkets. On my actual computer, I have this sticker that came from Stampin' Up, and then this camera sticker that I had, and I liked the way it matched, and so I stuck that onto my computer. My computer matches the color of my room. I'm a matchy kind of person. Over here, I just have some of my trinkets, some of my friends' memorabilia, and then photos, that photo Andrew loves, and then of course a quote from The Rock. These pieces up here are all decor type items. None of this is functional. I made some pinwheels and a rosette. I took a glass I got at the Dollar Tree, wrapped fabric around it, tied ribbon around it, and that is that display. I took a canvas, that is the exact canvases that I used. You can see it's a little bit textured. And those are the canvases. I added black paper to it, and then this 4x6 card that came from Allie Edwards that talked about creativity, and I just loved it. And then I have a photo of my grandma, a photo of us when we were dating, this item right here that I got when I first, it was a gift, and it says, mother's love endures forever. I was given that when I first became a mom. And then my favorite photo of my kids ever, that was right after Andrew was born, and I snapped that photo because I couldn't believe that I was a mother of 3. It was mind blowing to me. Y'all might remember, you might have been around when Andrew was first born and remember those days.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if will ever figure out where the road.
Here I have the basket that holds my camera and stuff. I got that on Amazon. I have an Amazon folder that is full of all of the decor items in this room that I've purchased. And then also an organizational folder, and that would might be in both. Right up here, I have Hello. That was a vinyl piece I purchased at Etsy, and I just loved it. I saw this in Vicky Bouton's scrapbook room, like her scrapbook tour. She had a big Hello in her room, and I loved it. So I went and found something and did it on this bookshelf. I love it because my window is right here. Sometimes people will come up to the window and talk to me, and it's funny because they see like hello. And then this is a poster that I did many years ago when I was doing in-person classes. It is Stampin' Up's Statement of the Heart. I actually covered up Stampin' Up with these paper flowers, and I've decided there's not any other like Stampin' Up really other than that speaker. There's not really anything else in my room that says Stampin' Up anymore. I removed all of that, and this was one piece that I was thinking I would remove because it has the Stampin' Up logo on it, but I really love what it says, so I just covered up Stampin' Up. I just covered that up. Nothing wrong with Stampin' Up. I just wanted my room to reflect more than Stampin' Up, so I just added the flowers. Which brings me to my very next piece I want to share with you, which is this beam right here. And those words up there, it says, always be creative. I got those on Etsy. Now, these were a little bit more expensive. It says, always be creative. It came in plain wood, and I spray painted it. And I will link the guy that I had that did this for me. I really love it. You can choose a different font. You can choose whatever words you want. It came beautifully packaged with a beautiful note in it. I loved it. I do want to get another piece made by him. But again, this was pretty pricey. I think it all together was $50. And so it was a little bit more pricey. And then on either side, I have these paper flowers, and I just got them from Amazon. I got 2 sets, and I picked these colors. They work really well in my room, and I added them to that beam. Again, this was a garage, and that beam was there because they used to work in cars in this garage, and they would pull engines out of the car. And in fact, there's a hole right above that because they would wrap the chain. It went around the beam, and then they would pull the engine out of the car. So we painted that beam black, and then I've always known I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted the beam black, and I knew I wanted flowers on either side. And then it says be creative, and then that's where these flowers come from, is what was left over. The next few things are going to be up here in this area. Again, I have that fabric there. I have it under my TV. The other thing I added is this, and I purchased this on Amazon, and I purchased 2. I cut this one in half and added this one here, and then this one over here on my paper is how long it is. And then I gave the other half of this. Kayla saw this in here and wanted it, so I gave her the other half, and she put it in her room on her mirror. And then up top, I have a few items. Top, I have those albums, and they work as decor pieces. So even though they are also holding layouts and I'm using them, I've decorated them in a way that I can display them here in this room. Moving back down to this shelf here, the 2 hearts, that is another one of those pieces that I repurposed. I painted it black, and then I added designer paper to it, and then I also distressed the edges of it with just black paint. And then the 2 hearts are actually wood veneer hearts I had on hand. I think they came in an Allie Edwards kit. At some point I painted one black, and then I painted one with some blue acrylic paint that I had that happened to match. It was a little bit of a Bermuda Bay color, so I painted both of those, and then I added them to that square. So that's how I got that decor piece. And then the sign here, I went ahead and I made that. That is, I just, on my computer, I did, I think I actually made that in PicMonkey. I did the words, that is words from a song, and then I did the floral pieces in the corner. And then that is a frame that I got at the Target dollar spot. I think it was $3, and it's one of those frames that the pieces slide in and out so you can change it up. And I just slid that in there, and then I can always change it out or repurpose it. I have another one of these signs that you will see in another space of my room that again are just lyrics to a song, and I printed it out and added it to my space. And I have one up there as well that is in a frame that I made, and I made both of those and just repurposed the frames that I had and put them in my room. Over here you see a box that there's nothing in that box. I just covered it in paper, and then I have that in case, I'm sure I'll eventually find something to organize and put in there, but I don't need to put anything in there right now, but it serves as a great decor piece. I have a couple books in my room that I've just covered in paper. There's like some handwriting books, some quote books that I've been given, and I covered them in paper. And there's nothing really with my paper tower that has any kind of decor on it. It's really just the organizational pieces. When you come to the door, I do have a piece here that is something that I made. It's this pocket die cut, and then it has flowers coming out of it. I have the flowers in there, and then I created that. I have a K on the wall here, and then I made this. It's just like a charm. It's buttons, and then it says smile, and then I wrapped twine around it. And then of course I have a rock, a quote from the rock there. Over here, one of the other items that I have is this tray, which was a wood color. When I got it off of Amazon. I spray painted it. I added paper to the bottom of it. And then you can see, of course, like I said in my organizational videos, this often gets piled up with different stuff. That's a report card that came in and some movie tickets. And so I just added paper to that. And again, designer paper is your best friend. You can do so much with that. And so I added that and then put that piece here. And it is a little bit of that teal color that I love in here. Up top is a mirror. I updated the color of that, and then those are the same rosettes that are on there. I didn't change necessarily any of that. I just updated the color of that mirror. And then the 3 frames that are up there, I just got those frames. They were really inexpensive, and then I printed those sayings off in from online. I found them online. They were free. And so that's another great tip, is to search for, you know, the sayings that you want, or the phrases or the quotes. Either create them yourself or print them off online and then put them in inexpensive frames. And the frames were white and I painted them black. And here is what I wanted to show you that I would like to make for in here. I love making these type of wreaths. I have a ton of them, not a ton of them. I have like 3 of them that I display during the holidays that I've made. And then I have a friend that made one for me. And this one I made last year for my summer decor. So this is something that I put up every summer. It hangs in my living room, and you can see it has all the different designs. I would like to make one of these to hang on the door over here in the corner that goes to the side of our house. I would like to make one in black and white, and then like pool party, maybe pretty peacock, Bermuda Bay, like the blues that I have in here. So all you do is you make the rosettes, you put buttons in the middle of the rosettes, and then you do it in a circle, and then you attach it to just a circle piece of cardboard in the back. This one is attached to a flower, like a foam. I actually don't like this. It makes it really hard to hang up. I thought it would be such a good idea to do this, and it would be easier to hang up, but it's really not. You could do this. This would actually work to do some ribbon, to add ribbon to it to then hang up. But actually doing something flat to attach it to is better. I wanted to show you one other item that I've made. This actually sits in our living room, and it's lyrics to a song again. This is my husband, my song with my husband, God Bless the Broken Road by Rascal Flatts. And so I picked this frame up at the Target dollar spot. It was just this house frame. I added the paper to the back of it, added the song lyrics in these, they were stickers. They're like chipboard stickers. So I did that. And then I added the solo wood flowers, so you can see that. And I just layered them, and then I wrapped twine around it, and then added that heart. That's a paper heart. So this is in my living room, but you could easily make something like this for your crafty decor. This sits on a shelf. And then, like I said, this one I bring out in the summertime and hang on the wall, and then I put it away for my fall decor and winter decor and Christmas decor, all of that. So this is the item that I really want to make in here. I just haven't had a chance, and I want it to hang on the door. So that is a look at my craft room decor. The last clip I'm going to put in here is a clip of the thing I wanted to make, and I will talk all about that. I'm just going to show you one that I made for my living room, because I have a lot of paper decor in my living room. I'm going to grab the thing that I made in the living room. I'm going to show it to you and then explain how I want to make that for my craft room, and that will be the last clip that you will see of decor item. So now that you've seen all of those pieces, I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at what I have in the room, what I display, how I display things, things that I make, things that I love being able to make and put in here, and how I do that. Let me know in the comments below. Do you have a space, a craft room, a studio, a desk, a corner, a closet where you put crafty decor? It is not an easy thing to find people talking about where they get things. If you have a theme, like if your space is rainbows, then it's easier to find things because you can just look for rainbows, right? But if you don't have a specific theme, it can be really hard. And so for me, a lot of it is the colors, right? The Bermuda Bay wall, the pops of this darker blue. I do have pops of like the lighter blue. I call that pool party. And then black and white. There's a lot of things that I can do with that. And then also with cameras, because I love cameras. I love camera film strip, camera photos, camera pieces. I can use that in here, and that works well. And so anyways, just leave me a comment and let me know what your style is, what your room looks like, what your space looks like. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you guys so much for supporting me through this whole series of cleaning the craft room, purging it, the big tour that I did, and then now the crafty decor chit chat. I hope that you're having a wonderful day, and I will chat with you in my next video. If you're watching this in real time, July starts next week, and so I will have all of my fun stuff for July. Blessed to Craft will be out. The color of the month, which is Pretty Peacock, which I cannot wait to make some things using the new color Pretty Peacock. I think it will be so much fun. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will chat with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, checking out my craft room decor video. There are 2 other videos up here on the screen for you that you can check out. If you're brand new to my channel, thank you for being here. I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and like this video, and I'll be back in my next video to hang out with you.